Hey there, everybody. It's Ellen Weatherford.
And Christian Weatherford.
And this is Just the Zoo of Us, your favorite animal review podcast, where we rate your favorite animals in the categories of effectiveness, ingenuity, and aesthetics.
We are not zoological experts, but we try our best to bring the best information we can.
We're back after, I think it's been a month since the last time we recorded together.
Yeah, with the holidays and such.
Mm-hmm. And we recorded our Christmas episode early.
So we were good.
We were on the nice list. Took a little break because we were traveling back to Florida to see our families, and now we're back.
Yeah. See, we needed to give Santa something to listen to.
That's true. Yeah. Santa's always got his AirPods in, listening to that's all he's doing that's a long commute. You need something to listen to. Dude's blasting podcasts.
He keeps sending us emails about reindeer.
I would tell him, Santa, we already did reindeer.
He doesn't check his inbox.
It's kind of a one-way sort of conversation with Santa's emails. Yeah. We did go to the Pacific Science Center last weekend.
Very exciting.
Yeah, because our youngest, Finley, is he's in a bones phase right now. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like, kids just have these little phases where they're super interested in really weird stuff, and his right now is bones.
Yeah.
He constantly, every day, he says something about his bones.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It was quite alarming at first, but once we figured out, this is special interest.
His bones thing.
He's not trying to convey broken bones to me or something.
Yeah, because he did say the other night that, like, he had a boo-boo on his bones that we realized was just, he was trying to explain that he had something hurt below his skin.
Right.
And he didn't know how else to describe that.
But he knows there are bones in there somewhere.
Yeah. So he's like, well, must be bones. And I started showing him these 3D interactive anatomy models of the skeletal system and the muscular system and stuff. He finds that stuff really interesting. Mm-hmm. And he loved it so much the other night when I was going to the bathroom. He starts pounding on the door of the bathroom. He's like, Mommy! I'm like, what? He goes, can I see my bones? I was like, what? He goes, on your computer.
Yeah.
Can I look at bones? So it's all bones all the time over here in our house. Kids really into bones.
Yeah. I hope it's never necessary, but if he does ever need an x-ray, that's going to be exciting.
Well, when he gets his teeth x-rayed, right?
Oh, that's true.
He does like that. Just really into bones right now, which he would hate this week's episode of this podcast.
Oh, why's that?
Because I'm not flying solo because you are here with me, but I am hogging the spotlight for this episode. I'm staring down the barrel at a whopping 5 pages of notes.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. On a creature with no bones.
Oh.
Nary a bone in sight. Not a bone to be seen. Finley would be devastated.
I'm not even sure if he's aware that there are creatures with no bones.
I mean, he is aware of the creature.
Yeah, but that they don't have bones.
Right. He probably doesn't make that connection. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can look through it, right?
True.
If there was bones in there, you'd see them.
That's true.
This is box jellyfish.
Okay.
The reason that I'm doing a solo segment for this episode is because I started doing my notes on this creature. And I thought it would be a pretty straight over the plate, maybe a couple of interesting things to dig into, sort of thing. And then I was 5 pages into notes and I was like, there's no way I can trim this all down to a half episode segment. And so I asked you very politely and kindly if I could please have the whole episode, and you said yes.
Yeah, really twisted my arm.
So first of all, types of box jellyfish were requested by Katie Curtin and Chloe Sanders. They requested a couple of specific types of box jellyfish that I was originally going to look at. But then as I uncovered more and more about different types of box jellyfish, I really wanted to zoom out because there's so much really, really surprising stuff that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So I zoomed out to box jellyfish in general, and box jellyfish make up the class Cubozoa.
That's pretty up there.
It sounds like a lot. It's a very high level of taxonomic classification. So, for example, mammals are a class, right?
Right.
But there's only about 50 species of box jellyfish. So it is a class, but there's not that many of them. But so Cubozoa is the class. I know Cubozoa is kind of like, it's like cube animal.
Yeah.
Which is why they're called box jellyfish.
I like the direct approach.
Yeah. And it's also like a very loose definition of a cube. It's
Sure.
not like angular. It's only just that in like some sides are kind of flat. And there's 4 sort of points.
Yeah, don't tell the mathematicians.
No, they would hate this cube. Mathematicians hate this one cool cube. I'm getting my information from the Waikiki Aquarium, NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and, slight spoiler, the University of California Irvine's Department of Emergency Medicine, from an article titled Understanding the Dangers of Box Jellyfish and Irukandji Syndrome.
Oh.
That's by Isabel M. Algaze Gonzalez, MD.
Nice.
Yes. So just a little sneak peek at what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
Although if you've ever heard of box jellyfish, you probably would have guessed that emergency medicine was going to be relevant to this discussion.
Or even regular jellyfish.
This is the one.
Yeah.
Like, this is the one that you really have to worry about. This is the one that, like, they shut down beaches for. Some species of box jellyfish can actually grow pretty big, like the Australian box jelly, which is probably the most famous one. The Australian box jelly can be about 1 foot across in bell diameter.
Wow.
So the bell is the part that looks like a bell, like the top round part of the jellyfish. That's called the bell.
Yeah.
And the bell can be up to 1 foot across. And the tentacles can be up to 10 feet long, or 3 meters.
Yep.
So they can get huge. While other species like the tiny kingslayer jellyfish, which was one of the species that was requested, they can be very tiny, only about the size of, since it is a cube, a D6. Size of your typical sort of game die. So they can be really, really little, but they still have a powerful sting.
See, that's the one I'm most familiar with because I have memories of seeing like these jellyfish in tiny glass vials of water.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder if we've been to an aquarium that had specimens of them.
Something like that.
I don't know. Maybe we have. In the wild, types of box jellyfish can be found in sort of warm waters all over the world. They're particularly well known in Indo-Pacific waters, especially around Australia, Thailand, and Hawaii. Those are places where you'll see beaches have to be like shut down because there will be like a lot of them and they'll have to close areas of the beach so that you will not get got by the little guys. So some notable species of box jelly, I already mentioned the Australian box jellyfish. That one's also called the sea wasp because of their sting. Also Irukandji jellyfish, which are like a sort of category of box jellies. Irukandji, the name is a reference to the indigenous group of people that lived in the area near where those jellyfish were found.
Okay.
Not like a strong correlation between like the Irukandji people and the jellyfish. It's just the jellyfish live, like were first found near where those people live. But one such species of Irukandji jellyfish is the kingslayer. Okay. Which has a fascinating name with a morbidly sort of kind of almost funny story. But
all right.
I'll more on that in just a second. So if this is anyone's first time listening to this podcast, we rate animals out of 10. The first category is effectiveness. These are physical adaptations, traits built into the animal's body that let it do a good job of the things it's trying to do. I'm giving the box jellyfish a 9 out of 10.
That's very good.
There's not much animal to it, right? They're doing a lot with very little animal. They're like 90% water.
All right.
Not a lot of cellular density going on here, but they're making the most of it. So just right off the bat, we got to talk about like the thing people think about when they think about this jellyfish, which is venom. So box jellyfish are the most venomous marine animals. They have the most potent venom in the ocean, and they produce one of the most potent venoms in the entire animal kingdom. Oh. So like orders of magnitude more potent than like any snake. Very, very venomous. It like over 100 of different types of like toxic proteins in their stinging cells. So the jellyfish's tentacles are lined with these stacked rings, basically, of these special cells that are called nematocysts. And these cells are basically tiny little capsules, like imagine a little bag. And inside of that bag is a long coiled thread with barbs at the end of it, kind of like a grappling hook or a harpoon. I guess a harpoon is a better descriptor of it, because it has a pointy end and then there's sort of barbs at the end that make it stick.
Yeah.
So when the nematocyst is triggered by contact with like certain types of proteins, like if it's contact with like the skin of another animal, the bag rips open and launches that harpoon. So the harpoon pierces the victim, lodges its way in, and then it injects venom through the harpoon. So
right.
It's like a syringe that just kind of blasts venom into the puncture site. A single sting from the Australian box jellyfish, which is Chironex fleckeri, that's the scientific name of that one, can induce cardiac arrest and death in humans within minutes.
Wow.
Minutes of being stung, your heart attack and die. You can. It's not just like an allergic reaction or something. It's actual, like, the venom causes your heart to like clench and it won't unclench and then you die. And that can be within like 10 to 15 minutes of getting stung. Yeah. Stings from the smaller irukandji jellyfish can actually result in a whole suite of symptoms that are collectively called irukandji syndrome. So it was mentioned in that article that I named earlier. These can consist of very physical symptoms like obviously severe pain, nausea, vomiting, cardiovascular disruptions like, you know, your blood pressure and your heart rhythm and everything like that can get really out of whack. Also emotional and psychological symptoms, such as what was described as a, quote, sense of impending doom.
Yeah, yeah.
This doesn't seem like a psychological issue as much as like an accurate assessment of what's going on. You know what I mean? Like that seems like a reasonable emotion to have because your doom is likely impending. I don't mean to like add fuel to the fire, but like I feel like that's a reasonable emotional reaction to have. This doesn't seem like a you know, when I hear like a sense of impending doom being listed as like a psychological symptom, it seems like impending doom that is not there.
Yeah.
This is doom.
But it's not because of some sort of, I guess, psychological understanding of what's happening. It's, you know, in response to a chemical, right? Yeah,
like a physiological reaction.
Yeah.
It's like your, you know, heart rate and like you're having physical symptoms that are like in a feedback loop with your brain that's like telling your brain, oh no, we're about to die, which you very well could be. It's not an unreasonable emotion to experience, I feel like, in this situation. One type of irukandji jellyfish, which can cause irukandji syndrome, is the kingslayer. So this is probably not something I should be laughing about, but the kingslayer jellyfish, which has this very dramatic, interesting name of kingslayer, is named after Robert King, an American tourist who was killed by one of these jellyfish in 2002. I think this is one of the worst ways a person can be remembered.
Yeah.
I know that they like named the jellyfish to like honor the victim, but it feels like that's what I'm saying. Like I would not want to be remembered that way. Remembered purely by the thing that took me out.
Now, was this a tourist doing something they weren't supposed to somehow?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I read some articles about the story that came out around the time when it happened. It seemed like it was just a guy on the beach and got stung by one of these. This is what's so terrifying to me about box jellyfish is that like you could, especially the tiny ones, you know, like you could just be enjoying the beach, having a normal day, and then boom, you're done.
Yeah, like even like normal sized jellyfish are hard to see sometimes.
Yeah. So. I'm like, don't look like that then. Yeah, I feel like this is like one of the worst ways to be remembered, you know? Like, and also I do kind of feel like whoever was naming it was just taking the opportunity because the guy had a cool name.
Sure.
You know, like if his last name had been like George, they wouldn't have called it George Slayer.
True. I was hoping for some sort of reference to Game of Thrones, but this is before the show came
Long
out.
Before the show. I wonder if there was inspiration. Probably not. Kingslayer is like a normal, like a term they would have used.
I also don't know like when the books came out, so.
Oh yeah, I don't know either. Well, this was in 2002.
Maybe.
So I think this was before the books came out. But yeah, they do call the guy in Game of Thrones a Kingslayer because he slayed a king.
Yes.
Not just a guy named King. They wouldn't have done that if he had a silly last name. So I think they were like, yeah, it's to honor the guy, not just because they wanted to have an animal with a cool name.
Strange.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like its size here is actually helping.
You think so?
Because if it were larger and something one could seek out or mess with on purpose.
Oh, yeah. Maybe people would.
I was just thinking, like, okay, this is kind of following the trends of, like, venomous snakes, for example, right? Like, usually deaths are people who are young, elderly, or in some other compromised position. But a lot of times, you know, the venomous snake deaths here are due to people who were doing something they shouldn't.
Right. You were messing with it.
I was just thinking, well, that's not really going to happen with this thing. Like,
yeah, you would otherwise not see it.
Yeah.
I did come across like a Reddit thread of somebody that like was not holding a box jellyfish, but I think like had scooped one up out of the water and took a picture of it and posted on Reddit, like asking what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone was like, put it down. What are you doing?
Just like the blue-ringed octopus.
Yeah, like the blue-ringed octopus. Like when people don't know,
Yeah.
you know, they think it's just a cool-looking thing. And they just grab it, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah, so size might be helping the little ones, but
Yeah.
not the big ones.
True.
Now, there are ways to avoid getting basically one-hit KO'd by the box jelly. First of all, prevention is key. So you can not go in the ocean.
Okay, yeah.
Not to be the champion of ocean celibacy, but if you are going in the ocean, especially part of the ocean where these things are found, you can wear a wetsuit because part of the nematocyst trigger mechanism is chemical. It's not just if it brushes up against any surface, it fires. It reacts to like the presence of proteins. So if it bumps up against something like a wetsuit, it just remains inert. It won't fire and it won't like inject venom. So they actually, I was looking around online and I did find stores online selling specifically marketed stinger suits. Oh. Like suits that are specifically made to deter jellyfish stings. Okay. So that even if you brushed up against one, you wouldn't get stung. Because it's through the barrier, like an inorganic barrier.
Wouldn't most do that anyway?
I think so. It seems like a marketing thing, maybe.
Not made of flesh. There you go.
As most wetsuits. You can also predict the box jelly cycle. So in Northern Australia, box jellyfish are more common during the summer, which is now for Australia. True. From October until about April. At first, I was like, oh, I'm going to save this animal for in the summertime. And then I realized that it is their summertime. So it would make more sense to talk about it now because this is when they'd be more common. Yeah. And now in Hawaii, interestingly, box jellyfish appear cyclically between 8 and 10 days after a full moon. Okay. So not on the full moon, but 8 to 10 days after a full moon, which is thought to be because of tidal activity, which pulls jellyfish over reefs that they wouldn't normally be able to cross. And then when the tide goes back out, they get stuck. Oh. So it keeps them trapped close to the beach, which is where people would be. The Waikiki Aquarium's website actually has a jellyfish calendar that will show you which days have like lower and higher risk of box jellyfish on the beach. So you can actually go to their website and see like which days are more and less like likely to have box jellyfish. Interesting. Yeah, I thought that was cool how you can kind of like predict their presence based on like the lunar cycle. Yeah. The website warns, ominously, quote, all jellyfish arrival dates are estimates. Jellyfish may be present on any day of the year. Yeah. Which had the tone of like, your risks may be low. Yeah. But never zero. Yeah. Which is likely true, but if not, it's at least covering their own rear ends. That's true, yeah. A liability disclaimer. Yes. Your chances of getting stung by a jellyfish may be low, but never none. Yeah. Not fun, by the way. Have you been stung by a jellyfish? I mean, certainly not one of these. No, not one of those. I'm actually a ghost. No, yes, I have gotten stung by a jellyfish. Oh, you told me about this, I feel like. I think I've talked about it on the podcast. I think when you talked about the man of war, I think we talked about your jellyfish sting. Because it was suspected that it was a man of war sting, but don't know that for sure. Right. But I also suspect that I've been stung by a jellyfish, but I can't like prove it. It was also like a beach thing, and I didn't see the jellyfish, but I had a very mysterious rash, like a very like localized and mysterious rash after swimming in the ocean. So I think it may have been a jellyfish sting, but I don't know for sure. Mine was immediate pain, had me running back to the shore. Yeah, mine was an afterwards thing, so I don't know if it was that. And it had kind of like hot wire marks on it. Oh yeah, yep, definitely for sure. Yeah. But you were okay, though.
I was fine.
You didn't get a scar either.
I was quite upset. I was like maybe 6 years old at the time.
Oh, yeah. I would have been swearing off the ocean forever now. Like, I'm not going in there. It hurts. It's spicy in there.
That's probably my one and only time in the Gulf of Mexico from on the Florida side of it.
So you called off of it for good. You're like, no more. You are dead to me. I harassed jellyfish enough that I should have gotten stung, but I didn't. But they were moon jellies, so I didn't. Did I tell you about the time I harassed moon jellies?
Think?
With a water bottle?
Yeah. Like trying to suck them up. Yeah,
so in the summer camp I was in, me and all these little kids in the Tampa Bay, we came up with this fun game because we were doing a lot of swimming off of this dock, just like in the Tampa Bay, and we would take empty plastic water bottles, and if you held the mouth of the water bottle right up to these moon jellies, and these moon jellies were everywhere, like moon jellies all over the place. So we would hold the mouth of the water bottle up to a moon jelly and then like release the bottle so that it would suck all the water in, and the jelly would get sucked up into the bottle like with the water. Yeah. And then we would point them at each other and squeeze the bottle to like blast them like a little jellyfish cannon.
Yeah.
So we harassed jellyfish enough that I should have gotten stung a lot more than I did. But moon jellyfish are like largely harmless. Like they have very, very short tentacles. They mostly won't do anything to you. So very different from these box jellyfish. Always err on the side of caution, though.
Yeah.
Don't do what I did. Don't launch them out of cannons. Now, if you do get stung, if prevention was not key,
sure.
If you do get stung, you have a few options. First of all, vinegar is the sort of go-to treatment for jellyfish stings. So the acetic acid in vinegar can deactivate unfired nematocysts. So if those capsules are still closed, they haven't burst, they have not already released venom, vinegar can deactivate them and wash them away.
Wouldn't that be only if you had like a broken off tentacle on you or something? Right.
So this is if you have like a tentacle on you or nematocysts on you that you can't see, that just have not fired yet. Vinegar can deactivate them so it can prevent your sting from getting any worse.
Okay.
So that's the first thing you want to do. The first thing you want to do is take a tentacle off if you have one. They say use tweezers or any, like if you have means of removing the tentacle without touching it, then you should do that. And then vinegar can help prevent the sting from getting any worse, as like being jostled might like fire more venom into you. So a lot of beaches in Australia actually keep emergency bottles of vinegar. Have you seen these? No. I've seen a lot of pictures of these. On beaches in like northern Australia, there will be emergency, like how you might expect to see like, I don't know, a trash can or something like on a pole at the beach. They'll have stations of like emergency bottles of vinegar meant to be for, rinsing a jellyfish sting if you get one. So I found this photo on Reddit in the subreddit Mildly Interesting, where someone posted a photo of one of these vinegar stations, was like, oh, hey, look at this thing they have here. I found a couple of very interesting Reddit comments on that thread that I wanted to share. So Reddit commenter Binch Talk writes, at one point, they put blue-colored vinegar in these things to try to prevent people from taking it for their fish and chips. So people were using the emergency jellyfish vinegar as
that's funny.
As chips, in this case, being what we would consider to be French fries.
Yes.
I would never put vinegar on French fries. That's horrid to me, but I understand it to be quite popular.
I would, I think.
Yeah, you'd probably like it. Another comment from that thread, Reddit commenter An Evil Budgie writes, I'll never forget taking a biology class where the instructor recommended using meat tenderizer for jellyfish stings. I wasn't aware there was a meat tenderizing powder at the time, so imagine my confusion when I thought she was seriously recommending taking a meat tenderizing hammer to someone's jellyfish sting.
You'll be too distracted by the hammer pain.
That's the best way to treat an injury. Give them a worse injury to distract them from the original injury. That also, from the sources that I could find, is a common sort of like an old wives' tale. Meat tenderizer does not seem to actually work.
Any other wives' tales you're going to talk about?
Yes, actually. Don't pee on it. It's in my notes in all caps with a bunch of exclamation points. Don't pee on it. It does nothing and it's just gross. So University of California, Irvine reports, and this is a quote from the article, currently the best evidence-based information supports two-step first aid. 1, prevent activation of the undischarged venom-filled nematocysts left on the skin after tentacle contact. And 2, soak the affected area in 42 to 45 degrees Celsius water or apply a hot pack for 20 to 45 minutes to specifically heat and activate venom already deposited into the sting site tissues. So heat can denature the proteins.
I was going to ask, like, that's warm water, right?
Very hot. Yeah, okay. It's quite hot. Now, they continue. You'll see why I included this here. Do not rinse with fresh water, cold water, urine, alcoholic drinks, or rubbing alcohol. Do not apply pressure or ice. Do not scrape with a credit card. Shave with shaving cream or rub with sand.
What?
That's what I said. I was like, what? I mean, clearly they had to say that because, you know, like all rules are written in blood. Like clearly they had to say that because someone tried it. I'm just like, what?
I don't know. No.
I was just dying. I was like, what else do you need to tell people not to do?
I could not imagine a more skin irritating event than trying to shave your legs at the beach.
Imagine. Imagine being stung by a jellyfish, dealing with like excruciating pain and being like, you know what I could go for right now? Nice clean shave.
When you have a medical emergency at 1, but then a date at 5.
I was imagining like, do not lick the sting site with your tongue. Do not stack rocks on the sting site. Do not put paper down and then rub it with a crayon to make an imprint.
Do not let your dog lick it.
It reminded me of SpongeBob writing that essay of what not to do at a stoplight.
Yeah.
And also the inclusion of not to pour alcoholic drinks on it.
The beach is often a place where...
Oh, really? Oh. I had no idea.
So it's not like someone's like, quick, run to ABC and get me some Captain Morgan.
So yeah. So another thing to note about the irukandji jellyfish, which are the small ones, is that they have clusters of stinging cells on their bell, not just on the tentacles.
Okay.
So don't let the jellyfish scene from Finding Dory mislead you into thinking that the bell is completely harmless. It's not. You can also get stung by the bell of those. And you can see they have these little like spots on their bell, and those are actually stinging cells.
And for the record, for jellyfish with long tentacles, nothing stops their tentacles from being above their bell either.
Right, yeah. They're just everywhere. They're just all googly.
Yeah.
All noodly. Yeah, you're never safe. Just go ahead and give those things as wide a berth as you can.
Yeah.
And just assume. And you know what? If you see one, maybe just do something else that day. Maybe just go home. Maybe dry off.
Hello?
Hannah?
Yeah.
It's Clint McElroy. Hi, Hannah Ray.
Oh my God, hello.
I don't know if you know who I am.
I do. I love The Adventure Zone. It is probably my favorite D&D podcast.
You've been a faithful member of Maximum Fun since March of 2019, and this is them rewarding you as our Maximum Fun Member of the Month.
It's awesome. I love it.
So what made you decide to become a member of Max Fun?
You know, it was so long ago. I'm not sure what the exact moment where I decided was. I think I've kept it up intentionally because a lot of those different podcasts have been there for me when I felt really alone and sad and just needed something to laugh at.
Oh, well, that's Hannah. Thank you so much. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for being a Taz fan. Thanks for all the nice things you had to say about me specifically. And I guess my kids, I get indirectly.
If you're a Max Fun member, you can become the next Max Fun member of the month. Support us at MaximumFun.org/join.
Jellyfication. Hi, and welcome to the MaximumFun.org podcast, The Jackie and Laurie Show, where we talk about stand-up comedy and how much we love it and how much it enrages us.
We have a lot of experience and a lot of stories and a lot of time on our hands. So check us out. It's 1 hour a week, and we drop it every Wednesday on MaximumFun.org.
The next category we rate animals on is ingenuity. This is behaviors, things they're actually doing to get by, thrive, solve problems that they face, things like that. This is going to be a surprise. It's going to sound low, but keep in mind that they're jellyfish. I'm giving them a 4 out of 10.
That's higher than I was expecting.
That's a lot higher than I was expecting. It was higher than I initially gave them until I found a surprise article that made me bump them up quite a bit. By complete surprise. This was the thing that I was having an existential crisis over.
Was it a bump by 4?
It was a big buff. So, first of all, they are, as opposed to most jellyfish, box jellyfish are active hunters.
Oh.
Like, they will actively try to orient themselves above prey and, like, deploy their tentacles in such a way where, like, they're not just passively drifting through the ocean like most jellyfish are.
Okay.
They're surprisingly very strong swimmers. They can swim up to 4 knots, which is 4.6 miles per hour or 7.4 kilometers per hour. So they can swim pretty well for a jellyfish, and they're actively hunting fish. So, like, actively trying to, like, get above them, drop their tentacles down, sting them to paralyze them, and then pull them back up with their tentacles. So they are taking a much more active role in predation than most other jellyfish tend to do. I made a note in here that most other jellyfish are kind of playing on spectator mode, where they're just kind of like completely at the whim and will of the current. They just go wherever the tide tells them to, and they just kind of hope that something wanders into their tentacles. But box jellyfish take a much more active role. They're kind of the go-getters of the jellyfish family. And they're able to do a lot of this because of their special eyes.
Oh?
Now, you look at a jellyfish. You tell me where the eyes are on this thing. So a lot of types of jellyfish have like very, very simple photoreceptors. So a cell that can detect the presence and the amount of light, but that's kind of it. Like, it doesn't form an image. They can just kind of tell if there's light around them and how much, not much else. Which they don't really need much more information than that, because what are they going to do with it anyway? Like, what are you going to do? Move? No. But box jellyfish uniquely have true eyes.
Wow.
Actual image-forming eyes. If you look closely at box jellyfish, at the sort of 4 corners of their bell, they have these structures that are called ropalia. And these ropalia are basically like little nervous system stations. It's like a little cluster of like neurons, and that's basically where what we would think of as a brain. So instead of having one central brain, they have these 4 sort of stations that act as like a brain. So each ropalia has 6 eyes. 4 of them are just simple photoreceptors, just those very simple detectors of light. But 2 of them are much larger, and they are true eyes, complete with lenses, pupils, irises, corneas. Like, they have all the same basic structures as our eyes. The smaller one of the true eyes points straight up at the sky. And this is interesting because no matter which way the jellyfish is oriented, it always points at the sky.
Okay.
Like, it's like stabilized. So
the eye itself.
Yes.
Kind of like a barrel eye.
Yeah. Okay. So the eye is always pointing up no matter which way the jellyfish is oriented.
Okay.
And then the bigger eye points down at their surroundings, like down and out, sort of around, at what's going on around them. And the bigger one is thought to maybe help them avoid bumping into obstacles. Like, if they see something around them, they can move away from it. And I got the information on like the different parts of the eyes and like eye anatomy from a paper called Advanced Optics in a Jellyfish Eye. And that was by Nilsson et al. In Nature of June 2005. And one thing that they mentioned in that paper that was really interesting is that the upper eye seems to form a much clearer image than the lower eye. Why? Why would such a simple organism need to see in such detail? Like, why would that be helpful for such a simple creature that has such like limited brain power? Why would they need to see such a clear image? Specifically of what's above them. Like, why would that matter? So researchers tested out box jellyfish's upper eyes, and they found that they only had about 100-degree field of view from their upper eyes. So if you imagine that your eyesight is in a cone, like if you can see everything that's in a cone in front of you, their cone of vision has a 100-degree angle at the tip. This happens to line up almost perfectly with a phenomenon called Snell's window. Have you ever heard of Snell's window?
I don't think so.
You've seen it, but maybe haven't noticed it. So if you look up at the sky, like right now, you basically have like a 180-degree field of view. You can see everything in the world all around you. But if you were underwater and you looked straight up at the sky, that 180-degree view collapses into like a circle above you. Have you ever noticed this?
If underwater.
I'll show you a picture of it so it makes more sense.
Sure.
Like this.
Oh, okay.
How like when you look up at the surface of the water above you, there's a circle above you and you can see all 180 degrees of the world around you through that circle, and everything outside of that circle is a reflection of the water below.
Oh, I guess I always thought that was a camera lens thing.
No, it's like that's an actual, like that's how you would see the world if you looked up. But it does act like a fisheye lens, basically. Like it collapses the entire world down into this like circle.
Part of the problem with me experiencing this is normally when I am swimming underwater, I am not wearing any kind of prescription lens anymore.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you can't see anything. So basically, that 180-degree view becomes compressed by the refraction of light into a 97-degree view. There's a really, really good YouTube video explaining this, which is called Subnautica and Snell's Window. And this is by a creator called Scruffy. And he describes like the physics behind Snell's window and also like how that appears in Subnautica. So in Subnautica, if you were to look up, there's like the world is seen through this. It's not even the world. It's just like light. You see the sort of glow above you, but it's in a circle. It's probably like the rendering of that in the game is probably a lot simpler than what I think he assumes it is. Because I think he assumes that like the light is being computed and rendered. Like I think he assumes that like the game's engine is like computing the refraction of light and all that stuff, when it's probably more just like it's just light in a circle that changes size based on
probably
like, where you are.
The majority of that game, there's nothing above the water. Like you're in an open ocean for most of that game.
Yeah, so it's probably like a little bit simpler than how I think he assumes it's working in the game. But his explanation of Snell's window helped me understand it a lot better. And his like explanation of the refraction of light was really, really interesting. Weirdly enough, I watched that, like I was doing all this like learning about the refraction of light and how it causes this like visual effect. And then the short story I was reading the other day, which is the short story called Story of Your Life, which is what Arrival was based on. And in that story, they talk a lot about the refraction of light through water. So it was like a really weird convergence of like I was both learning about this for this and then also reading about it in the short story. Anyway, so box jellyfish seem to be looking up through this window. Like their vision seems to be focusing on what they can see through the surface of the water. And it seems like they're using that to decide where to go. In this 2011 study where they were like studying box jellyfish, like upper lens vision, these mangrove-dwelling box jellies were shown to actually swim towards mangrove canopies when their edges were visible through that window.
Interesting.
So like if they could see through Snell's window, not the whole mangrove canopy, but if they could see, for example, that like just the edge of it was visible, they would swim towards it. So like if they could see that the mangrove canopy was directly above them, they wouldn't necessarily like swim in any particular direction. If there was no canopy visible, they would just kind of keep going like they were looking for it. And then once they spotted the edge of the mangrove canopy, they would swim in the direction that they saw it in. Yeah. So it seemed like they were actually like using information that they got to determine where to go through looking up through the surface of the water. That study was called Box Jellyfish Use Terrestrial Visual Cues for Navigation. That was by Anders Garm et al. In Current Biology in May of 2011. And that's all really interesting and cool because their eyes are more sophisticated than we thought. But wait, there's more. Something very startling to me. This was in a 2023 study on the same species, that same mangrove-dwelling box jellyfish species that are from the Caribbean. The species is Tripidalia cystiphora. And researchers were tested the jellyfish by putting them in 3 different types of tanks. So imagine 3, when you have a jellyfish tank, it's usually like a cylinder-shaped tank, so that they don't like hurt themselves on the corners and stuff. So 3 cylindrical tanks. One tank had solid gray walls. Another tank had black and white striped walls. and a third tank had gray and white striped walls. So different levels of contrast. You had solid, you had high contrast, and you had low contrast. They were basically testing to see if the jellyfish would bump into the walls of the tanks, like how much they were relying on like contrast-based, like visual cues to not bump into the walls. So in the gray tank, they bumped into the walls the whole time. Could not figure it out. They just kept bumping into the walls. In the black and white tank, they immediately would avoid the walls. Like they like barely bumped into the walls at all. And in the gray and white tank, this is low contrast. They had a hard time seeing it. Something really interesting happened where they bumped into the walls a lot at first. But throughout the course of the experiment, which was about 7 minutes, they stopped. And they started avoiding the walls and they started staying close to the center of the tank. Which suggests learning.
Sure.
Like bumping into it a few times and then realizing, oh, when I see this, it means I'm getting close to the wall and I need to move away, which is way more sophisticated cognitive processing than I think anyone thought jellyfish were capable of.
True.
Because like, where's the brain, right? Like it's like the most simple of neurological circuitry, but even somewhere in that very simple circuitry, they're able to acquire new information and change their behavior based on it, which is shocking. Like, to me at least, this was the thing that had me like floored. I was like, are you kidding? This is ridiculous. Now, what I don't know if they did, which I would be interested in finding out, is if the jellyfish could remember what they learned.
Right.
Like if you took them out of the tank and put them back in, if they would like have the same performance all over again, or if they would start off like remembering what they had learned. And if they did, how long could they remember it? Like if you tested them like a day later or a week or a month later, like would they remember that? That paper, by the way, on their learning is called Associative Learning in the Box Jellyfish Tripidalia cystophora. That was by Jan Bielecki et al. In Current Biology in October of 2023.
Wow.
Yeah, this was just like, about a year and a half ago that this paper came out, and I had heard nothing about it. And once I saw it, I was like, are you kidding me? This is like incredible.
It is.
Really blew my mind. So I was very, very shocked to see that, because we drag jellyfish all the time.
Yes.
They're like our go-to, barely even registering as alive sort of like animal with like the most basic behavior and neurological function possible. But even then, even they can learn.
Nice. Good for them.
Fascinating. And then I just want to include one more thing on their sensory structures, like the rhopalia, the clusters that contain the eyes. They also contain something called a statolith. Or a statolith. I don't know how it's pronounced. But this is basically it's like a mineralized structure. It's like a little pebble of calcium almost. And it's surrounded in this sac almost by tons of tiny little sensory bristles. They're kind of like hairs. They're not like made of the same thing as hairs, but they're sensory bristles. So basically when this pebble moves around in the sac, it brushes up against these sensory bristles and tells the jellyfish things about its position. So like what way it's facing, how fast it's going, what direction it's moving in.
Okay.
It gives the jellyfish a lot of information about its position and movement.
Yeah.
Which surprisingly works very similarly to our balance system.
Yes.
In us, it's called otoliths. We have small crystals inside of our cochlea that work very similarly. So when your head moves around or your body moves around, the movement of these like structures in your ear brushes up against tiny little hairs on the inside of your ear, and that's how your brain knows like how you're moving.
For some reason I thought that was liquid based, but I might be getting that confused with
I think there is a liquid as well.
Yeah.
Like there's a liquid component to it.
Yeah.
So I just think it's interesting how for the box jelly, which is like nearly as far as you can get from humans in like the animal kingdom, right? Our common ancestor would have been just like the basest sort of multicellular organism, like nearly as far as you can get from like their relation to humans and to vertebrates and stuff like that, and yet still have evolved very shockingly similar sophisticated structures like eyes. Yeah. The eye thing was wild to me. The fact that they have true eyes, because eyes are such, like, you know how complicated eyes are. Like, the visual system and all of the, like, complicated and specific structures needed to make a fully functioning eye are, like, they stress me out to think about. I have no idea how eyes work. Like, it is so complicated and it is so sophisticated. And the fact that they evolved multiple times throughout the animal kingdom, not just with humans, but with, box jellyfish and with things like octopuses, right? Mm-hmm. And cuttlefish and insects and stuff like that. Like, the fact that eyes evolved so many different times in such similar ways is really, really interesting to me. And the balance system, the fact that, like, that we just keep coming to the same answer.
I think that also helps with sensing acceleration.
Yeah, so, like, you can tell if you're moving, because it's like inertia. Like, we'll move the statolith or the otolith and tell your brain, like, it's how your brain can tell. That you're moving. So I thought it was interesting that jellyfish have that too. Yeah, neat. Very neat. I came across so much more than I thought I would on, like, jellyfish senses and how they perceive the world and how they act on that information, which was very surprising to me. I didn't think they did much acting at all. So some fun surprises from the box jellyfish. Yeah. The final category we rate animals on is aesthetics. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. I'm giving them a 3 out of 10. They're not even like one of the cute jellyfish. Not brightly colored or light up. Very clear, transparent. Maybe people who are really into that, like, Y2K, like, all the appliances being made of, like, clear plastic. You remember that? Like, you might like this. So no gamer LED type action going on there? No, they weren't Twitch streaming. That would be fun though. No, not really like one of the cutest jellyfish in the world. The irukandji jellyfish does have little spots all over the bell from those, like, stinging clusters. Oh yeah, and that's something. It looks like a cute little like a whimsical mushroom. It's pretty cute. I'll give them that. They do look a little bit like a little mushroom. Oh, okay. But I can't give them too much because there's some really pretty jellyfish out there, and this is not one of them. Yeah. We have fried egg jellies here in the Puget Sound. Yes. And I saw some in the Puget Sound, and that's a delight. They look like a giant fried egg. It is so cute. Did you see those with me? I don't think so. Oh, next time we're out in, like, the Point Ruston area, we got to look, because I saw them and I saw harbor seals. So there's all sorts of critters out there. Finally, to wrap up for box jellyfish, this is usually where we talk about conservation status. They're the opposite of threatened. Nothing's wrong with box jellyfish. They're doing fantastic. Box jellyfish stings are even reported to cost the Australian government up to $3 billion per year in medical costs, as well as loss of tourism. Are those Australian dollars? Yes, Australian dollars. I can't do anything with that information. I was just curious. Because when there's, like, a jellyfish bloom, when you get a lot of them at once, they have to close the beaches, and they lose out on a lot of tourism from that. And also, people are just too scared. Oh, okay. So this is not $3 billion on medical care. No, I mean, some of it's medical care. Sure, but I mean, they're not America. No, if it was America, it certainly would be way more than that, I bet. Not covered. Sorry, this jellyfish is out of network. Jellyfish are, in general, believed to be one of few marine animals that actually might be benefiting from climate change and global warming. Mm-hmm. As waters get warmer and we see a lot of die-offs of things that normally compete with jellyfish, that only spells fortune for jellyfish. The water's getting warmer, their competitors are dying off. Also, you're getting a lot of nutrient runoff from, like, agriculture, and, human activity is putting a lot of nutrients into the water that the jellyfish are able to eat. So you're actually seeing jellyfish habitat expanding over time. You're starting to see jellyfish move into waters they don't normally live in, jellyfish becoming more populous in some areas. And, in turn, that means that they are preying on more and more, like, larvae of fish, which means those fish aren't reaching adulthood and not competing with them. So you get the sort of, like, population boom, like, feedback loop almost. Yeah. So this could lead to something like a jellyfish apocalypse. You could really see jellyfish taking over the oceans, and something that I've seen termed in a lot of sources as jellification. The ocean jellification.
Yeah.
Which I get what it means. It does sound like the ocean's turning into jello.
Yes.
Which is very funny to me.
Sure.
Can you imagine if the whole ocean got turned into jello?
Yeah. I mean, eventually, I guess they would, deplete the food supply chain and then...
Of jello?
No.
They're eating all the jello. The ocean's receding because they're eating the jello.
The things they eat, depend on reproduction as well, right?
Right.
So, I mean, there's going to be an equilibrium at some point.
Yeah. If there's more and more jellyfish, then it's just going to be harder and harder for fish to recover from population die-offs.
Yeah.
So, jellyfish could be on top. I don't know. Maybe if you look into the Earth's future, maybe 1 billion years or so, maybe it's just all jellyfish down there.
I think we discussed this in a previous episode with, what was it, the cannonball jellyfish or something?
Cannonball?
I think we talked about how there's some fishing going on of jellyfish, like off the southeast United States. Yeah, trying to find uses for them.
See, that's the thing. I couldn't tell you what you could use them for.
I think they're considered a delicacy in some parts of the world. Like you dry them out and then...
and then what? You're left with like 50 molecules of jellyfish.
Basically Cheeto Puff.
Hold on, let me Google it. Dried jellyfish. Oh yeah, it came right up. Oh, it looks like a tortilla. Look, it looks like a tortilla.
Okay. See?
You could have a jellyfish like a taco or something.
There's something there.
I don't know, I might try it. Okay, Wikipedia says some species of jellyfish are suitable for human consumption and used as a source of food and as an ingredient in various dishes. Oh yeah, you were right. Raw cannonball jellyfish.
Okay.
I don't remember talking about this on the podcast, but good memory. Raw cannonball jellyfish, known locally as jelly balls in the U.S. state of Georgia, prior to being dried, preserved, and packed. I've never heard of this in my life. Am I being like Mandela affected? It says it's in Georgia. I lived like right next to this was happening so close to me. I mean, they're common on the southeastern coast of the United States, including the Gulf Coast. I never heard of this in my life.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you also don't seek out seafood in general.
I don't. So this is something that would have just skirted right by the realm of my consciousness. But so yeah, I mean, as we've seen with things like lionfish, we can eat as much of them as we want. So far, at least, it hasn't really solved the problem, but might as well benefit from it.
Sure.
Or, maybe that's just a way that humans have to adapt to the changing ecosystem of the ocean. Maybe we just need to get really into eating jellyfish, because sounds like eventually that's going to be our only option.
It's just the biomass shifts into jellyfish.
Put it all in jellyfish. It's all jellification from here.
Part of me is hoping the dried jellyfish is something like a potato chip type texture.
Well, it would be more like those puffs, like the potato puffs. Maybe. Which I like those. Yeah. I like the texture. It might be a flavor thing I'd have to get past, but we'd see.
They could flavor it artificially.
Ooh.
With like Cheeto dust or something.
Ooh. Doritos Locos jellyfish.
Hey, could you pass me the Cool Ranch jellyfish?
Well, I like the jellification thing because it reminds me of those like cursed Jello casseroles from the 50s,
sure.
where there'd just be like various like foods randomly suspended in Jello, like that, but like the ocean. It'd be like
it's a fun idea, but I feel like the whole ecology of the ocean would collapse before it got anywhere near that.
Yeah, like immediately. But it would be really funny for a second.
Yeah.
You'd have like whales and sharks and stuff like, I'm coming to get you if I could just get through this.
Yeah.
They're all like suspended in a giant Jello casserole. What flavor Jello do you think? Usually it was savory. Usually like a weird lime. Ugh, savory Jello. Ugh. I know that was like common in the 50s, but like I'm so glad we moved past that, because just the thought of it makes me want to gag.
See, that could be a Marvel movie, like a what if Thanos instead of getting rid of half of the population is like jelly ocean.
Imagine what he could have done with that power. All the oceans, jelly now. Goodbye.
And I looked upon a grateful universe.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Marvel writers, I know you're listening. Get on it. So that's box jellyfish.
That's right. That's what we were talking about.
You see now why I had to take a whole episode for this, because none of that I felt like I would be doing such a disservice to them if I omitted any of that information, and I knew I would have needed to get it down to like below 30 minutes.
Yeah.
They really deserve it. I wasn't expecting to find them as interesting as I did. So thank you very much to the people who suggested. The people who sent in submissions were requesting specifically the Irukandji and the kingslayer jellyfish, which are types of box jellies. So thank you for bringing those to my attention. I was really thrilled with what I found. And I feel like this gave me a deeper appreciation for jellyfish. I feel like I'll treat them with more respect. Probably not, because they can't hear me.
That we know of.
That's true. Maybe the sound waves are traveling through the ocean. Well, you know what? They only have eyes. They don't have ears. So as long as... Oh, God, I hope they don't find the transcripts. They're going to be so mad. If those jellyfish could read, they'd be very upset. I'm still going to roast them.
All right.
But this was a very fun trip into the world of jellyfish.
Yes.
If you liked what you heard today, I would love it if you left behind some kind words for us in a review on your podcast app of choice. Like, we got some kind words in a comment on Spotify from user Wow, a Frog. This was on the episode 267, which was about the wood frog and the Titan triggerfish. Wow, a Frog writes, "This is the second episode I've listened to of this podcast, but this is actually amazing. I thought I knew what I wanted in life until I discovered you guys who share a mutual interest and appreciation for not just animals and science, but all things nerdy. This podcast is my idea of couple goals.
Aww.
So thank you for blessing my ears. I will be listening to every episode ever."
Excellent.
Hopefully that includes this one.
Yeah, eventually at least.
Are we couple goals, you think?
I mean, mine, yeah, for sure.
Oh, that was a good answer. You're so good to me.
Goal achieved.
So if you want to hang out with us online, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord. Options for social media are getting real slim these days.
Yeah.
It's a little perilous out there for social media users, but get a hold. We can be accessed, I promise. If you have a cool animal you'd like to hear us talk about on the show, you can send those to me in an email to ellen@justthezooofus.com. We would like to thank Maximum Fun for having us on their network alongside the other fantastic shows that you heard promos for earlier in this episode. That's also where we keep our bonus content. So if you want to go check out that exclusive members-only bonus episodes, head over to MaximumFun.org.
Mm-hmm.
We'd also like to thank Louis Zong for our theme music, which is very fun. And the song of, well, it's not the summer right now. Song of the winter.
Song of Australia summer, perhaps.
Song of Australia summer. If you're in Australia, you're loving this one right now. And that's all for this week. Thank you so much. Christian, thanks for granting me this extra time today.
Thanks for taking me on this journey.
To yap about box jellies.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see y'all later. Bye.
Bye.
Maximum Fun, a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
Supported
directly
by you.